So let's look at another option that you want to know about. It's Spectrum Expert. This one is very useful, especially on autonomous access points, especially if you do site surveys. Because when you do site surveys, it's always nice to do a layer one sweep, as we say. Like to say, trying to see what the RF environment looks like even before knowing about 802.11 activity. Because if there is any source of interference, you want to know about it before you deploy Wi-Fi. So that's something you do very often in site surveys. But at the same time, you don't want to carry with you a controller. So it's very common to use an autonomous access point as your detecting device, and then a laptop on which you run MetaGeek Channelizer or Cisco RF Spectrum Expert, and then you move your access point around with your laptop to detect the RF environment as you navigate the floor. So let's go and configure it. Of course, it's a mode on the radio. So the way you configure it on the access point is to go to Network, and then Network Interfaces, and decide where you want Spectrum Expert to be active on what of the interfaces. So for example, let's go to the 2.4 band. You go to Settings, and if you remember, on that setting page, there is one option to choose Spectrum. Of course, make sure that the radio is enabled, because if the radio is disabled, nothing is going to happen. All right, let's go here, click Apply, and once you have this information, the nice thing is that you don't need to care about anything else on that page. All the rest is going to be inactive because now the AP is only using its chipset, its cleaner chipset, to detect the environment. So there is no concept of speed or channel anymore. You just care about the RF spectrum. Then you go click Spectrum Information, and here you can see which radios have been set to Spectrum Expert and which one was not. You can set both radios, by the way, if you want to, or just one of them like I do here. And the other thing which is very important is this NSI key. As you remember, maybe, the NSI key is critical for you to allow one station to connect to this AP and read the RF information from it. Otherwise, anybody could connect to your access point if they know the IP address and see the air from your AP. So that NSI key is a security mechanism only allowing whoever has that key, and to get that key you have to be admin on the access point, and then you can copy that key to Spectrum Expert or Channelizer. So let me do that. Go to Cisco Spectrum Expert, open it, and then I'm going to connect to a sensor. And the IP address of the sensor, of course, is going to be the access point IP address. I'm going to enable it for radio PG, and I'm going to paste the NSI key, click OK, and voila. Now my laptop is connecting to the access point and is having a real-time view of the RF environment. So you see some traffic which looks like DSSS, right? So we have probably a couple of access points around here. You recognize the typical shape. But there are also some other things. If you see those spikes here and there, those are definitely not access points. So this is taking in my lab, and there are a lot of things going on in my lab. So there are access points, of course, everywhere, but there are also some other things, Bluetooth, some cameras as well that turn on or off, and some transmissions that are definitely not 802.11. So as I connect to the access point, I'm able to see that live, and if I wait a little bit longer, I can use that tool to try to analyze what kind of RF activity is going on in this environment.